Mike Chiruka this afternoon from the law offices of Mike Chiruka, located in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area. This afternoon, we're going to talk about exit strategies, strategies for small business owners who are getting ready to either pass down their business to the next generation, or to sell it, or to look for a way to capitalize on the wealth that they've built during their lifetimes. We're in an era where we're looking at the greatest intergenerational transfer of wealth in the history of our country, and much of that wealth is tied up in small and mid-sized businesses in this country. And many of the business owners are looking for a way now to pass on their legacy, if you will. Sometimes you hear this referred to as succession planning, but exit planning is a little bit broader in scope. Succession planning is usually looked at as a way of going from one generation to another, or possibly just passing it on to key employees. Exit planning takes a wider look at the business owner and his family, and it looks at why does he want to get out, or why does she want to get out of the business? Who are they leaving it to? Are they selling the business? Or are they just closing the doors because they're tired of it? We've seen some strange reactions to the recession which we had a few years ago, and many business owners delayed their exit strategy because of the decrease in wealth in the stock market or in their investments outside of the business. Many of them, because of the downturn in business, the value of their businesses might have dropped for a few years during the recession. But now that we're going through a recovery, albeit a slow one, many of these owners are now once again looking at why is now the right time to sell, or is now the right time to pass on my business. Why do we focus on exit strategies? Well, as a small business owner, we are going to leave our business one day, either voluntarily or involuntarily. And for most of us, we'd rather do that on our own terms. And that's really why we say exit planning is a process for a business owner. It's really not a transaction. It's a chance to step back, say what you want to do when you retire, if you plan to retire, and it allows you to define retirement. We're in an era where we're living a lot longer than our predecessors, and the definition of retirement has really changed for many of us. Years ago, many planners would say you needed about 60% or 65% of your income while you were working to retire on. However, we're seeing that many, especially business owners that retire, are spending more in retirement than they were when they were working. And the main reason being they have good health and they have time. They didn't always have the time when they were running a business, and now that they have some free time, they're out traveling, they're out spending time with their grandchildren or their great-grandchildren. And we're finding that they're using a lot more of their resources in retirement than they might have originally planned on. So the planning process really should start with a look at why am I leaving my business? When do I want to leave it? And what do I plan on doing when I do leave it? Once you go through that process, we then look at where is the company now? Financially, can you afford to leave? Are you selling it? Are you planning it down, or planning on passing it down to the next generation? Do you have key employees that you're leaving it to? And a lot of these questions depend on how many resources you need from the business in order to retire. It also depends on who you're leaving it to as to whether you want to maximize the value of the business, whether you want to minimize the value because you're going to gift it, or you're going to sell it to a trusted employee or a family member. So again, going through a process of trying to evaluate how we're going to do it, we try to put together a team so that you're comfortable with looking at all the different issues that you have to consider in going into retirement, going into what you need to plan for retirement, how you're going to sell it, what techniques would be involved in selling the business or passing it down to the next generation. So again, we try to focus on this as a process. It takes time. We usually say give yourself 5 to 7 years to really properly plan on developing a strategy to get out of your business. And if you give it the proper amount of time and you put together a good team to get you there, both you and your successor will be much happier as you go through the process. Part of the planning process is also the what ifs. We're putting together a great plan. We hope to accomplish this in 5 to 7 years, but what if you have an accident and become disabled, or what if you or a key employee passes away during the process? What if technology renders your company obsolete during the process and now you have nothing to sell? So again, as you go through it, we have to do contingency planning to cover a lot of these questions to make sure that you are able to continue to move toward exiting the company on the terms that you want. You spent your whole life, in many cases, building the company, and we want to make sure that you leave it on your terms, or leave it in style, as we sometimes say. And then the other side of it is, what is your legacy? Is it passing it on to your children? Is it finding the right buyer so that your employees, your customers, the community are taken care of? Or possibly it may be passing it on in some form to a charitable donation, so that you're making the legacy of your business is actually making something happen that is totally unrelated to the business. So we have you as the business owner. We're trying to put you in control of this process, letting you define what it means to leave, when you want to leave, and how you want to leave. So if you find yourself in a position where you own a business and you're beginning to think about some of these issues, give us a call. Our number is 717-232-4701, or visit our website, www.chirucalaw.com. Take a look at what the materials we have there and fill out our contact form, and hopefully we can become part of your team to help you exit your business.